sit. And here, would you knock it off? Shut up! Shut up! And now he's excited, just like we are, because guess what month it is? Hey, it's October. Shocktober. We've been waiting all year to do this, and if you can't tell, we pulled out all the stops. We got ourselves a hook. We've got ourselves a flaming bowl, and we're ready to have some fun. It's the month to end. All months. I don't know. Season of summer's perfection. Right. And now we're into the gloomy days of fall, and we're jumping in feet first, because we're going to give all of our viewers a month's worth of content, jam-packed with creative writing, movie reviews, and insightful looks into the history of monsters, myths, and all those things that go bump in the night. So, well done. You know what? I got through it. One take. One take. No, and it's important to us this month, probably more than anything. I think for you and me, we're just going to start rolling down some of our favorites. And so for the first monster breakdown, we're choosing my favorite monster, the werewolf. And so what we're going to do with this segment is we both chose a movie that kind of exemplifies what we like or what we respect in a certain monster. Right. And so for my pick, I'm gonna go second. So okay. I'm gonna let Alan go first.
Well, okay, let's start it off with a classic. Now, I couldn't find the classic. I don't have a copy of the.
It's hard to find
the original Wolfman, so I did the next best thing.
Species of the night, existing somewhere in the deep To him, it seems very real.
And I picked the Benicio del Toro version of the Wolfman. That was out just a few years ago.
2010.
2010.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a little older than you think, but it seems like it was just yesterday.
Now I've seen the classic, the Lon Chaney one.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, this movie follows it pretty darn close. You know, it's, I guess you would say it's a remake, but it does a really good job.
It's a remake, and it holds true to the vibe, the feel of the original. Maybe a little bit more action oriented, but I don't think that's a bad thing when you're talking about werewolves.
Not really. Well, okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Anyhow, we'll run down the plot if there's somebody in our channel that hasn't seen anything to do with the Wolfman.
Well, basically it's set in, I think you would call that Victorian England?
Yeah. That's
somewhat
Victorian-ish.
It's kind of set in the time of just after Jack the Ripper, so it's your stodgy English, period piece with a Wolfman running around. And basically what happens is this famous actor, who's kind of like a Shakespearean actor, gets a letter one day from his family saying your brother has been killed or he's gone missing.
Yeah, he's gone missing. Come home. We need you here.
We'd like your help. And he heads back, and he finds that his brother has not only been missing, he's actually been found, and he's been mangled. I mean, this guy has been put through the ringer by something, and you get this whole thing that, well, it could have been this traveling band of gypsies that showed up recently, or it could be something much more sinister.
But not only that, the gypsies were almost like a seasonal thing.
Yeah.
Like the main character Benicio del Toro plays. His brother was like the mediator to make sure the gypsies didn't run amok in the cities. They kind of kept to their own kind.
Right.
And when he died, they're kind of more concerned about the gypsies running wild. And so that there's a whole bunch of tension going on here.
Right.
He's an important fella.
So it's a pretty interesting setup, and I don't know if I should spoil it. I don't know if you could spoil a movie that's
based on like a 50-year-old movie, one of the classics
maybe
of our
longer
age.
than 50 years.
Well, yeah,
Maybe longer.
Yeah, it's
well,
like
not
60.
much longer.
Yeah, 50, 60.
But it becomes a case of there is something sinister running around during the full moons.
Yeah.
And it's I'm just going to say it. It's Benicio's father.
Yeah.
Who's responsible for a lot of these manglings and mutilations that they've been finding around the village and stuff like that. And
played by the immaculate Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
I mean that guy was born 55 and he just stayed that way. Looks good for his age.
Yeah, yeah. But it's not long before Benicio gets bit, and you kind of have to deal with the I guess the trials and tribulations of being a werewolf.
Yeah, it's the classic tale.
Right. It's a remake of basically the classic tale of a werewolf as depicted on film.
Yeah, we'll say the Hollywood version of
the
Wolfman.
Though I'm not sure there's any other version.
Well, we'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
But no, I had a lot of fun watching this movie, and I thoroughly recommend if you've never seen the old black and white film with Lon Chaney, this is a great place to start. You'll get all you need to know to move on,
right?
And you'll know pretty much everything you need to know about the Wolfman.
Right.
Now, my counterpoint, since I'm such a young maverick, and I'm hip and with it, I chose a movie that a lot of people have heard of, but not a lot of people have seen. It's a Canadian movie, and this was in 1997?
No, this is way later than that.
Way later? Oh, yeah.
This must have been the early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, it's 2002, okay. I chose the movie Ginger Snaps.
What Pamela had. What are you doing?
No, I'll just take it
Stop!
off. I'm just taking it off.
Stop! No!
Now, Ginger Snaps I chose for a certain reason, and I like horror movies that take classic staples and then kind of turn them on their head, or try to focus on one angle and really get down to the bones of it.
Right.
Get in there. And it's a story about a girl that gets attacked by a werewolf one night, and it's her sister manages to pull her away just in time, and they escape.
Right.
And the whole movie is the one sister dealing with the now affected sister. She's been infected with the werewolf curse, and they're trying to figure out the angles. She's starting to grow hair in places where
it's a little more complicated than that, because you could call this movie The Wolf Woman.
The Wolf Woman, but that's oversimplifying it, I think, a little bit.
In a way, but they say women are more complex creatures than men.
I agree with that, but I don't think necessarily. It's their choice.
It's their choice. I don't know. This movie is kind of neat in a way, because you have one sister that's going through basically the whole movie centers around menstruation.
Yeah, the analogy of a young girl turning into a woman, and the terror and the horrors that come along with that. Like, she's going through body metamorphosis, mood swings, emotional outbursts, and at the end of it, once all these trials and tribulations get kind of underway, it turns into a pretty good horror movie. And I think it's a nice take on the classic tale, and it has an independent vibe to it. It takes a little bit to get going, but once it gets going, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it finds a lot of traction in this movie. There's a lot to like about it. You might think some of these girls are just, as guys, me, okay, I'll speak on my own behalf. I don't understand what the big deal is
with women,
with going through what they do. I don't get it, but then again, I wouldn't get it,
Yeah. I don't think we're meant to. I mean, that seems to be the thing that was hammered down in that movie, is the guys don't understand the girls, and then the guys are quiet and saying, well, we're complicated too. It's a bunch of misunderstandings and half informations, and nobody's telling the truth.
Well, the guys don't know, and the women, when they're going through it, they don't want to talk about it, so...
Nor do I want to hear about it.
Well,
I'm sure if I cared about one of those girls, I might want to hear about it a little bit, but this is one of those things that's like setting up a bunch
curious.
of... Yeah. It's like watching dominoes fall. This movie. You know, they try to set up these plans of how they're going to get out of trouble, and nobody's going to be any the wiser that she's a werewolf.
Well, you know, it's a good movie. The bottom line is the themes it deals with. Like when you look at a movie like The Wolfman, and they figure men are like. Well, actually, that was one of the lines for The Wolfman.
Yeah.
That where does the beast end and the man begin? And vice versa.
Vice versa.
You know, it's like it says men inherently have these desires to kill. Now, they kind of switch it up a bit in Ginger Snaps when they say, well, when does a girl become a woman? And when does the womanly nature kind of overtake the girl's nature in a way?
Yeah, it almost they try to say it's like a switch is just flipped.
Yeah,
and that's one thing that I'm not sure I necessarily disagree with. I just don't know enough about it.
No,
but it makes for good cinema. You know, I mean that's the whole title, Ginger Snaps, and it's just
yeah, okay.
They didn't do that not on purpose. They didn't name it after the cookie.
I thought they did, actually.
It wasn't her last name. Her name isn't Ginger Snaps. But the one thing that I found between these two movies is how they look at werewolf lore, and that's something that we're going to do for a short little bit here.
Okay.
And historically, we both kind of have some grounding in what werewolves are about. Like, you know, they started about 15th century. Yeah, there's roots that go all the way back to ancient Greece and Rome. Like Romulus and Remus were raised by wolves, and
it doesn't make them a werewolf.
It doesn't make them a werewolf, but the culture is on the mind.
Okay.
And it kind of came to the fore around the time of like the Spanish Inquisition. Then they started on like the witch hunts and stuff like that.
All right.
And the supernatural element of the belief of the werewolf is very close to witches, vampires, and a whole lot of assorted countryside monsters in Eastern Europe. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I've found in reading about them over the course of my time is there's never a singular set of characteristics defined to them or attributed to them. Mm-hmm. And I find that very interesting because a lot of different cultures worldwide have kind of alluded to a creature, a supernatural entity that can change shape, and it's usually subject to some sort of rule. Like, you know, sometimes it's the moon, sometimes it's the seasons, sometimes it's just, you know, anger, rage, emotion.
Like the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, this guy's a furry Hulk. But what I like is, at some point in current era, like it did start with like the Lon Chaney movie, is the Hollywood werewolf is a singular element. Like they decided to distill it all down to one set of rules. It's weak to silver, sometimes weak to sunlight, has a healing factor, is immensely strong, can shrug off a lot of pedestrian wounds, and changes in the full moon, generally. Mm-hmm. With a few variations, that's kind of a skill set.
Right.
And the Wolfman follows that to a T. I like some of the lines in that movie. Mm-hmm. Like Anthony Hopkins looking up at the moon through a telescope. He goes, "It has such a power, doesn't it?"
Well, you know, this is kind of a weird thing because, you know, wolves, and oddly enough, in Ginger Snaps, they kind of ignore that.
Yeah, almost
because,
completely.
Okay, you know, like at the start of the movie, you get the one younger sister who's trying to take care of her older one, the one who was bitten.
Yeah.
And she's reading up on werewolf lore, and that's about the last you see of it.
Yeah, and she hits the books hard for 2 minutes.
She hits it hard, and, you know, sure, you know, Ginger turns into a wolf-like creature, but I don't think it was because of the full moon.
No, and that's the thing is she the little sister, she remarked that she's changed, or she says like she's trying to disguise that it's her sister, so she says to a confidant, "I'm changing, and it's not even a goddamn full moon." Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's freaking her out because all these rules that have been laid out by Hollywood, they just don't work.
Yeah, so, you know, in a way, why include them?
Why include them? But I think they did that just to kind of step on them, like, at least say, well, this is a clean break, this is our kind of werewolf movie.
Okay, well, you know, this is where I think some of these things are kind of wrong. Like, if you call something one thing, it should be that thing. You know, it's like in recent years, you know, it's been all about the zombies, and you'll call something a zombie even though it's only a diseased person. Now, that doesn't necessarily make it a zombie in my mind, nor does what we're seeing now in Ginger Snaps. I don't think that's necessarily a werewolf because there was no shape shifting. You know, she just turns into the wolf, and you know, it's not like a wolf any wolf I've ever seen. Or
that's one thing I think I like about it is that it kind of gets away from the Hollywood werewolf and it goes back to the grassroots. Quite literally, the way to stop and cure people from this curse is to inject them with monk's hood or wolf's bane, and make a kind of like they were trying to make a serum and inject it into people. But God, it's hard to inject somebody when they don't want to get the needle. But you know, they treated it almost as the classic mythological werewolf more than the Hollywood one, and I kind of appreciated that because, you know, we've sat through Underworld.
There was no, like, in Underworld, there was no disadvantage to being a werewolf because those guys could change at will.
Yeah, at will. And I guess in the movie, it never was sunny, so you never got a chance to see if that affected them. They were just they had the bullets with silver in them. That was about it. So silver was the only thing. Yeah, and that's where I think the Hollywood werewolf is damn near untouchable these days.
Pretty well. It's a bit like fighting Wolverine.
Yeah.
You know.
Because, like, they say, oh, he's weak to silver. How much silver do we have in this place right now? Like, what can we use? Like, we might have a couple lockets. We'd have to melt down silver to make a stabby thing.
Right.
It's untouchable.
It's kind of a strange situation. Like, in that way, I kind of appreciate the Wolfman a little bit more because it follows the rules
very closely.
Very closely, and you know that gets down back to my original point is that if a certain creature of a certain type doesn't obey certain rules, can it really be called that creature?
Well, it depends on how far back you look for the definition, too. Okay. I mean, there's got to be that point, like the Wolfman isn't a werewolf. He's a wolfman.
That's werewolf.
Well, yeah, but then where did the term werewolf come in? Like, then it's one of those things, you've got to kind of zero in on that one point where it became somebody, or it became the creature we all know. And I think it's fair to say it's around the Wolfman territory. It has to be. It has to be. But then now you're looking at Ginger Snaps, and which is a take on a werewolf story. But it's not. I guess that's how you have to say it. It's a take on a werewolf story.
Okay. You know, it's just that, you know, you look back at some of the causes of being a werewolf, of being afflicted by this curse. It could have been almost anything. Like you were telling me that if a wolf looked at you a certain way, looked at you askance during a full moon, he would just put the whammy on you.
Yeah, he puts the curse down on you.
I've read that if you drink water out of a rainwater out of a wolf's paw print during a full moon, you become a werewolf. You know, it seems like, geez, how can you not become a werewolf?
You look at my sandals, you become a werewolf. Looking at my werewolf, you become a werewolf.
I mean, don't get me wrong, both these movies are awesome. They're really, really good. It's just that, you know, if you're going to call something, if you're going to call a spade, it should be a spade.
I kind of have to agree with you, and I don't like doing that. Mainly because I think I really like werewolves. I like the idea of them. I like the way that I think they're underutilized. Like Twilight, they're just dog people. And as much as it would be cool, like you and me as natives, to be able to just switch into wolves, it's kind of lame, the way they went about it.
Uh-huh.
And what I liked in both stories is that the one element of werewolves that I really appreciate and isn't brought to light is the fact that they create suspicion in a small population very easily. Is some stories they don't know they're werewolves. Sometimes they're aware, but they're really good at hiding it because they have to be. And so suddenly people are dying, cattle are being mutilated, dogs' heads are getting torn off, and nobody knows what's going on, and everyone's pointing fingers at everyone else. So it's a great monster for suspicion
And you know what? It actually, now that you kind of word it like that, it's kind of similar to the monster in the John Carpenter movies, like the Thing, where you get this shapeshifter, the metamorph style thing that can be anything it chooses to be, and it can be any one of you, And I think,
especially that smelly guy over there.
yeah, you
Straighten up. No, and it's a side of it that I think is overlooked because it's so cool to see shape changing. It's a good visual sight, and they're very good at bloodshed, and they're tough, and they're great for action scenes. But I think there's a big mental side to a werewolf that's being ignored in a lot of these movies, and that's what I liked about Ginger Snaps. I think that was the one thing that I adored about this movie.
I think the bottom line is, yeah, you should see both these movies if you can. You're not going to be disappointed.
No, and if anything, I think it's good to get a grounding in the classics. You should have some of these things on your shelf.
Right.
If you just go by the remakes and, well, I shouldn't say that. If you go just by the new movies that are coming out and just stuff that has no classical grounding, you're going to miss out on a lot of stuff. And if you start from a good base, read a book, watch the classics. You're going to find you're going to enjoy these movies a whole whack more. So for me, yeah, I agree. Both movies thoroughly recommended. Long live the werewolves.
And okay. I think we should wind down for the night.
Oh, wind down, eh? Well, this here. We're doing a little something different. We're going to celebrate the month of October by looking at a particular vintage that came across at our local boozeteria. It's called Zombie Zin. And it's a California Zinfandel bottled by Chateau Diana in Healdsburg, California.
That sounds legit.
Yeah, it's pretty legit. I couldn't make that up. Healdsburg. But since I'm not very good with the bottle opener, we're going to have a quick technical display here and say that, well, this month is very special to us, and we want to make it special for the viewers. So what we're going to do is we're setting up a release schedule week to week to make sure that you guys are filled with content, so you can enjoy Halloween in the same way that we do.
Smell that cork.
Ooh. That's
Here's your drinking goblet.
is a goblet. But we want to make sure that you enjoy Halloween the same way we do.
Oh, it smells like it could be called, yeah. Like,
It smells like Zambambos.
an appropriately named wine, zombie wine.
Wow. But no, we watch a lot of movies and we immerse ourselves in the culture. We go to Halloween stores and basically just enjoy the month as it was meant to be. Like, almost like...
That smells pretty nasty, actually. I'm not a huge fan of red wines. Here goes. That ain't bad. That smells a lot worse than it. Oh, it's actually got a bloody taste to it, like a bloody aftertaste.
Oh, it's like when you bit your cheek that one time, or if you bit your tongue and it started to bleed. There's this weird, almost coppery. Maybe it's not the goblet because it's glass lined.
Right.
Oh, that is tasty though.
It's better than I thought.
We're not really wine connoisseurs.
It's pronounced connoisseur.
Connoisseur. I'm sorry. Pronunciation. But we're going to be looking at other things too. We have a wonderful selection ready to go for these Wednesday episodes, and that's what I wanted to get out to the fans is our release schedule for the month of October. So we're starting off with Werewolves on Wednesday, right? On Saturdays, we're going to be diving into some spooky story time. So it's stories that me and Al have kind of we've thought of over the past few years, and we're working together, and we're going to put out stories with some nice visuals, some nice visuals to look at. So late Saturday night, you can sit back, kick your heels up, and get ready to be spooked out by some creative writing.
And nice work on this set too. This was all my brother's idea. He wanted to go all out this year, and I think it looks pretty damn cool. We got a zombie on the wall here.
Well, it's a morgue.
It's a morgue. Yeah, it's not a zombie, I suppose.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh,
We got a hook here.
we got another hook here, and yeah, that's another hook. But no, it's one of these things. I don't think Halloween gets the credit that it deserves.
I think it gets too much credit.
Yeah, but nobody does it right, and that's one thing we're trying to do.
I think everybody does it right. I'm just saying the opposite.
I'm trying to segue into something.
Nice segue, man.
So we want to make sure on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, you have something to watch and something to get you in the mood. And Mondays, we're gonna do a regular movie review as we always do, but we're gonna put a little spookier edge on it. We're gonna have some fun, and we hope that you can come back and enjoy watching us and listening to us. And if you have any input, we'd love to hear it.
And try this out while you're at it too. This is actually not bad.
You know what? I'm not a big red wine drinker, but I definitely try Zombies in. So go to your local liquor depository and see if you can find a bottle, because it's fabo stuff. Anyhow, from the Sentinels, and to start off Shocktober, we're glad you could join us.
May the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Couldn't have said it better myself.